Lucky Left, what's good with it? It's hump day, middle of the week. I hope everyone is doing well this morning. We're brought to you by ONORA Whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. Also, MALIKZAIRE.com is where you can get that. And you can also book all your travel needs during the holiday season. Don't forget MALIKZAIRE.com. Left,
God damn, I can't
it's
see.
always funny when we have guests on the show.
That's right.
Just to see the comments after the show. Notre Dame fans were going hard at our brother Kevin Diggs after the show. They
I'm
were
glad they're
going,
going hard because the discussion is very worth it, especially when it comes to who deserves and who doesn't deserve in college football. But the thing is, there is no such thing as fair, and that needs to be uh, established when you're talking about this stuff because fair is objective, and at the end of the day, what college football is and what it's turning into is definitely opposite of objective. Is definitely based on money and the
yeah,
subjective feelings that somebody has towards it. So when it comes to Florida State not getting in, that's a subjective thing.
yeah,
It's a subjective thing because you got to throw numbers out when it because how are you going to like for instance the Heisman? Is it even a numbers thing anymore? Is it a beauty pageant contest? Because if you're going by the numbers, I'm a Jayden Daniels fan in that respect. But then again, if you're going by the beauty pageant perspective, Michael Penix is hands down. But then if you're going by who's the best guy in college football, that's Caleb Williams.
right, right, right.
So you're going to tell me Caleb Williams, the best quarterback, especially the number one quarterback going into the draft this year, doesn't deserve to be in New York? There's four other quarterbacks better than him? Come on. Come on. Now, I like the Michael Penix argument. Big fan of Michael Penix. He's done everything that Caleb was supposed to do this year. Wise, how do you look past our guy, Caleb Williams?
Man, you hit it right on the head, man, because it's so subjective. A lot of these awards, and that's when you use the word deserving. I think there are a lot of people that don't even make the finalist list
That
that are
deserve it.
that are deserved.
That's right. That's right.
Like Aldrich Estimate, it's the argument that can be made whether or not he was deserving of the Doak Walker Award.
He deserves it, but is it? I mean, but what's the word I'm looking for then? It's not so
It,
much of a deserving thing because of course he deserves it from all that he's put in, but man, because you can't say earned it. He's earned it. If anything, he
mhm.
earned it more than he deserves it. So what's that
It
word I'm looking
because
for?
it's subjective. It's almost like the Hall of Fame in professional sports. The athletes that weren't liked by the media while they were playing have a more difficult time getting in.
T.O.
Why? Because the people that vote are the media.
Think about how crazy T.O.'s story is. T.O. had 1,000-yard seasons with like four different teams.
Yeah,
Four different teams had like 1,000 yards each team, and,
yeah,
and couldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. How?
yeah. It's
So
crazy because when you think about that, left, like I said, when you start making humans part of a process, they fall in love with stories, they fall in love with other things that have nothing to do with the play on the field and the stats. And Notre Dame fans were kind of disgruntled with us because we just tried to simply make the point. Audrey Estimate doesn't have any big moments.
he doesn't. He doesn't. He had 200 something plus yards in the Stanford game. I couldn't remember one run.
The Duke game was his biggest moment.
That's all I can remember from a look back and be like, how impactful was Aldrich Estimate? That's as far as I get. Is he won the game for Duke? But other than that, he's been productive where you should say, oh, he's got more highlights than that. But which ones? A bunch of 4-yard runs, 5-yard runs, squirts out for 17 here and there.
Mm.
But on an NFL level, that's great. That's very productive. But Aldrich Estimate isn't going to be selling jerseys. He ain't going to be in the top 5 jersey sales for rookies.
Mm.
But I bet you what, he's going to be in the game a lot. So that's just how some players' careers pan out. Shit, I only played at best 7 quarters,
Mm-hmm.
7 or 8 quarters. And I can guarantee you there's people that at least remember 1 or 2 moments that I've had in those few amount of snaps. Not saying that everybody remember, I'm sure not everybody remembers, but I've had people remind me, and I'm like, damn, you remember that? And I barely, scratched the surface. So some moments stand out bigger than others, but productivity is something that's judged objectively when it comes to getting money.
Mm-hmm.
If Audrey Estime was how they're trying to do college sports now and have the schools pay players through a trust fund, Audrey Estime has a resume to get paid anything he wants on paper.
Yeah. And
So
it's
if he had
like,
to go negotiate with Notre Dame and be like, I need $2 million, I'm putting up X amount of yards a season, X amount of touchdowns, yeah. But we even give beauty pageant money out. We gave Sam Hartman $2 million for what?
yeah,
For what? Sam
yeah,
Hartman, what you getting $2 million for?
yeah,
Because of what he's been through. We literally paid him off for what he accomplished, not what he did for Notre Dame. Because if we had to pay him at the end of the season, which we should have did, put like a trust fund for Sam Hartman, so every good game we throw a couple extra 100,000 in there or something.
yeah.
That way we get our money's worth. Okay, you didn't win the 3-game contract, you won one of them, so that's a $50,000 bonus. You got us to 10 wins, that's 50,000. 150 or something. But that extra money, them 2 games, that was the $500,000 games. That was a 250. If you beat USC, you beat Clemson and Ohio State, that's your million, 2 million. That's what we paying for.
Man, Lucky Lefty podcast. Well, you already know what time it is, man. We're on CFB Nation, presented by Twisted Tea.
Yeah.
So tap in with this audio edibles each and every day.
Hold on, hit it one more time.
Hey, yo, CFB Nation, presented by Twisted Tea. Hey. We're gonna get the name of our R&B group soon, bro.
I'm telling you, we gotta drop that ringtone now.
Are you sending back to the ringtone?
We gotta do the ringtone.
Yo, I might as well bring back. Yo, what was that? What was the phone T-Mobile had, dude?
The sidekick.
The sidekick.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So were you a sidekick?
Right now the sidekick could be hot in the streets.
Were you a sidekick or the other one with the little ball?
Man, I was the Blackberry.
The Blackberry, yeah.
The slide. Ooh, the Blackberry slide thing and it clicked. Oh,
yo,
you thought I was on
hey man, my boy was a record exec with Sony, and he still has his Blackberry to this day.
How does he still have it? I'm surprised they even have a network. He probably can't go outside his neighborhood.
Somehow, some way, it connects to something, and he doesn't use it. He just kept it.
Right. I wish I kept mine because that thing is.
Because I think a lot of record execs use Blackberries, so for him, it's kind of sentimental. So man, I mean, he literally has it, and it's in good shape. It's really in good shape, bro. He took care of it. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Let's get to it, Left. What's smoking? Yo, what's smoking? Brought to you by Fashion Geek, AlonzoJackson.com. Fashion Geek, we run the city. So today, needless to say,
to work on this. My bad.
Needless to say, today is a pretty important day for Notre Dame. Left, what aggravates me is, you remember, maybe you, because I had, I don't know how it went when you were shorty, but like everybody in our house had like specific areas of the house that was their chore.
That's right. Yeah, we had to
right. I had my bedroom and also I had the bathroom.
Right.
That was mine. But
Right. Because
my
do you
parents,
call that the den? You call that where
no,
you at right now the den or the
this is
library?
it's my office. It's my office.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
call it
Yeah.
my office. So you have to understand, before my twin sisters came along, it was just 3 boys. Now understand, I'm responsible for cleaning our bathroom. 3 boys. You already know, bro. You already know what the side of the toilet. You know, my baby brother.
It's damn near as bad as a McDonald's bathroom. You regret the same. You like, man, I know I can't go in there because your brother's gonna be a little more ornery than they would in a public
Man,
place. So
man,
a little less careful. Let's say it like
man.
that.
It's one thing to clean up after yourself in your bathroom, but to clean
That's
up
right.
after some younger brothers in the bathroom, boy, that was an experience. And I promise you, it still impacts me to this day because I
Oh,
hate
for
cleaning.
sure. You probably look at cleaning the
They do.
bathroom way different.
Oh man. And my mother is one of those types, bro, where she comes and inspects and makes you do it over again if it's not.
No, she hit you with there's a spot
If it's
right
not.
there.
Oh, dude.
She
Oh,
hit
like,
you.
dude.
She hit you with what you been doing because this ain't
Toilet,
clean. Like,
toilet has to be spotless. It's a streak on the glass. Get the
oh
Windex
yeah,
again. Do it again.
they
Oh
hit you
man.
with. They just start pointing. No, that ain't it.
And
That
it's
ain't it.
amazing how this is where I want to go to set up the visits of Riley Leonard and Bo Collins. Why do parents go harder when you're cleaning for other people that are visiting than for just the regular people in the house? Like if I'm gonna go hard for the people that live in the house every day.
That's right.
But man, when it's the holiday and you got people coming over, oh my dude,
Yeah, if it's the Thanksgiving cleanup before people come to the house,
man,
you would have thought it was deep cleaning season. You cleaning stuff that the people coming over wouldn't even see. Why are
dude,
we cleaning the ceiling fans? Why are we washing the walls? They ain't even coming down here. Don't you? Because every house got that restricted area. Hey, you can't go upstairs. That's you can't. You gotta
now,
go to the bathroom down there.
yes, I do have an answer because I've had this conversation with, my mom, the missus, and according to them, for the lady of the house, no one else in the house gets hit with the label of being nasty other than the lady of the house. That's why they go so hard when visitors come over. Because, like, if you go to someone's house and it's nasty, you're not thinking that the dude is nasty. You're like, yo. And I was like, okay, I can get that. I can
But
get that.
so that means being clean is a feminine trait, sort of.
I don't know if I would go that far. I think it's attached as a label
No, yeah, facts.
to them more than it is to the male trait. So in that stead, I don't really think they would care as much about it if that wasn't the case in a lot of instances.
That's right.
It's just, I guess, yeah, it's one of those double standards. If you want to call it a double standard,
Right.
it could be. So, how clean after last week? How clean is Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame trying to make everything look with Riley Leonard coming in? Because I mean, I'm sure Riley Leonard has heard and knows everything that's going on with the wide receiver room, but you're still trying to sell and pitch this man on why he should come to Notre Dame.
Well,
What's your pitch to Riley Leonard, Left?
man, I don't have a pitch to Riley Leonard because at the
Man,
end of the
play
day,
nice. Play nice. We're trying to give good content, dude. Play nice. Play nice to
this
Riley
is
Leonard.
good content. Me
Just for
speaking
today.
on, I think if anything, you're good. You're good. I would think Riley Leonard. I would just approach it as what we have to offer and the potential of where we can go. I would just explain the potential. So I would say, hey, we have obviously need help in certain areas. We believe we can get to this X amount of wins, X amount of things without you. But
Hmm.
when it comes to where your role is, it's all about defining a role. I don't think Riley Leonard should just come like Sam Hartman and we just roll out the parade and the bouquet for him, because I just think that's just we've done that and it hasn't paid out for us. So if anything, I'm saying Riley Leonard, this is your role. We need you to get us to the playoffs, and we need to go deep in the playoffs. So your whole season and what we paying you to come here for is not based on this regular season, because
Mhm.
that's how we can get there on our own. So don't think just coming in here playing good is good enough. The expectation is to get to the championship. So or a first round bye. And if you can't do that, then it's this place isn't for you. If you're just looking to get film and get to the league, then we shouldn't accept you. You should be having the mindset of I need to elevate this team. And your role for that is getting to the playoffs and going deep in the playoffs with you.
Yeah, I think Jared Parker, who's making the pitch last year, was Tommy Reese making the pitch to Sam Hartman. I think Jared Parker has some things that he'll present, but I wish I could be a fly on the wall to hear the questions that Riley Leonard has. Because to me, that's the most interesting aspect, bro.
I don't think he's going in there with questions. I think he's going in there, head gonna be spinning, oohing and ahhing, and
Mm.
and knows, because at the end of the day, Riley Leonard's coming from Duke. Riley Leonard's not coming from no Alabama, no USC, no uh, prominent football place where you can say, oh, this he's we got to steal. I don't think anybody is feeling like we got to steal. I think people are feeling like, oh, we've got a different person to fill in for that position.
So Bo Collins comes in for the visit as well from Clemson with Riley Leonard. Do you feel like that was purposeful for those two guys, or even purposeful for Notre Dame being able to have both of those guys on campus simultaneously?
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage to show your potential future quarterback that we trying to bring you help. And Bo Collins serves as a guy with some. He doesn't have the Chris Mitchell numbers, but he brings the prestige of being a guy coming from a top program like Clemson. It's just Bo Collins has some of the same question marks I have in terms of impact. Because what's the difference between Bo Collins and JT?
Well, JT is an inside receiver. JT is not an outside receiver. Left, he's a slot receiver.
Well, Bo Collins got the same speed as a JT. They both got the same build.
Well, you asked me what the difference was. I mean, they play. They one is better on the inside and one is better on the outside. Their 40 time. Bo Collins is faster than Jaden Thomas. I'm not about to sit
I
up
think in
here and act
certain
like I have
I
a
think
stopwatch on either one of them, but just
in
from the
Wisconsin,
naked eye.
JT will be an outside receiver. In the Big Ten, JT will be an outside receiver. I think in the way we run our offense, we put the small, fast guys on the inside. I mean, on the outside.
Man,
Put
you
the bigger
going
guys
real
on the inside.
hard. You going real hard on the Big Ten, bro.
No,
I
he
mean,
would.
you do realize fast receivers for years have been at Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. I mean,
No, I'm saying the body type, body type, body type.
okay, okay.
Look
I
at
thought you were just
Michigan.
throwing shade at the entire conference, like there is no speed receivers.
No. They got certain schools got speed. Purdue had 4-3 guys at running back for a good minute.
Mm-hmm.
They had 2 4-3 running backs when Amir's dad was the strength coach over there. That they end up getting a little cup of coffee in the league. But in terms of body type, JT's body type could be an outside receiver for some offensive teams like a Wisconsin and Nebraska. I think Notre Dame's such a hybrid place that him being able to work inside is just his advantage, because we wanted, the small, fast guys on the outside like Braden Lindsey.
Yeah, well, I think explain this. Jaden Thomas played inside his first 2 years. He tried to go outside and he immediately got injured. Jaden Greathouse started off inside. They tried to move him to the boundary. When injuries hit, he got injured. What is it about guys that play inside, trying to play outside, possibly being out of position, that puts more stress on hamstrings, and is it really that much of a difference?
Well, you get a lot of change of speed and tempo type of routes in the inside. On the outside, your ass got to run. You running go
Mm,
routes, you running fast stop routes, comebacks, the type of stuff that we've been running. So the length and stride length changes when you're going from inside to outside, especially with stuff we running where we just tell you run post and goes, and some we don't even run slants that often. So you got to
mm-mm,
think inside you're usually dealing with a press, usually working through traffic, usually finding areas and zones. You very rare that you're just running scot free. You're gonna run through somebody's putting their hands on you, trying to run to the flat. So there's many different change of pace. That's why you got the smaller, faster guys that can stop and start better in the slots because they have more to do and you have more field to work with. So as a bigger receiver, if you're not just a straight line type of guy, like we
mm-mm,
had Corey Robinson, Chris Brown, straight line speed type of guys that are track guys in a sense. Corey wasn't a track guy, but Corey was just a linear guy. You ain't seeing Corey doing a lot of cutting. He's just I'm a jog off the line, you throw it up, which is a skill, but it's also a role to play. We didn't put no Corey on the inside, tell him run reverses and cross the fields and stuff like that. It was getting that 20 and going in. It's Corey Robinson time. It's alley oop Lob City David Robinson with the Spurs time.
mm-hmm.
When you in the 20 going out, oh Chris Brown, we need to get midfield down the field. Will Fuller, you know, with us, we didn't really have a role for our receivers. So I always believed Jaden Grayhouse was going to be a better outside guy, but they got him on the inside. I thought Braden Lindsey would be a better inside guy. They had him on the outside. So it just shows you that, I don't know if it's a physical thing when it comes to having guys be bigger on the outside for blocking. That's why we had the Miles. We moved him outside. EQ was outside. Chase was outside for blocking purposes. But it goes back to how we run our offense. We don't have Aldridge next year. Do we have a back that we give it the ball to like Aldridge? I don't know. We have backs that are explosive. I think Jeremiah Love, him and Jadarian Price, I wouldn't say that's the main part of the offense going in. I think it's more of a balance than any other years before. We don't really have a Josh Adams or Aldrich or CJ this year. We have more of, in my opinion, role players that
Yeah,
can become bigger roles in an offense, but I don't see Jeremiah Love being the most effective just playing running back. I think he could be used in some creative ways to get the ball to. Like you think of a guy like Sky Moore for Kansas City, he's catching little RPOs and screens and running the ball and running some
he
stuff
can be
for.
a Marshall Falk type.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what his hands look like because I see him running between the tackles, but you know, this is a wide open offense this year, in my opinion, in terms of the direction of who your main players can be.
Yeah,
We're bringing in Chris Mitchell, we're bringing in Bo Collins. Let's say we get both of those guys. I mean, that deserves some attention. I think more than the attention we needed to give out last year because we just didn't have, or we didn't trust enough what we had to make them a main factor. We didn't trust Tobias enough for whatever reason. That's why I keep saying it's just gonna be a shame to watch him be on ESPN scoring a bunch of points and us not have an answer for that. Because that's unexcusable, and it'll reflect bad on the program because they're gonna be like, "Damn, Notre Dame was holding you back."
yeah, yeah. That is definitely how it's going to be looked at. And now,
And we
look,
don't need that. Lorenzo Styles, him not being able to stay and then land other places. Everybody that leaves Notre Dame goes somewhere just as big or good opportunity, but people that come here, we getting them from Massachusetts and these lower places. I just would expect more from us. Like when's that transfer like Jermaine Burton gonna happen? When he comes from a Bama or a Georgia and then goes to another power top school, or AJ Mitchell. We need one of them trades. You go from Georgia to Texas.
look.
We
See,
get FIU to
every
Notre Dame. That's a long
every
travel.
every transfer is not created the same. Like Burton only left Georgia. He didn't leave Georgia to win. He was coming off a national championship. He'd already done that. So now he had to selfishly look out for himself. And that dude chose, look, you know who his quarterback of Georgia was. That dude chose NIL money and Bryce Young. That was a simple business decision. I want my stats to go up. Let me go play with Bryce Young and take this bag.
But that's our problem. Chris Mitchell didn't come for the quarterback.
No.
Bo Collins ain't coming for the quarterback, even if Riley Leonard's coming. He ain't come. That wasn't on his agenda. His agenda was go somewhere where he can get bigger. That's just where Notre Dame is at this point. No, nobody's coming to Notre Dame because of the quarterback right now.
I mean, that's very interesting. But, you know, we do know that Notre Dame in the transfer portal also has limitations, right? Chris Mitchell is a grad. So grad transfers are much easier at Notre Dame than undergrad transfers. We always see the undergrad transfers coming from either Northwestern, Vanderbilt, or, you know, educational institutions that kind of line up with the respect of Notre Dame, and the credits can transfer over. You're not going to see a lot of transfers undergrad coming from Ohio State unless they're literally in their last year or really close to graduating.
Now, is that a fact, or we choose not to take 2-year guys?
Because it's not just about, oh, I like this guy. The guy has to get into the university.
No, I'm saying, I'm sorry. I'm saying, is it only a grad? Is it certain positions is only grad transfer like, or are we just not taking any 2-year guys?
No.
Because I don't remember the last time we took a 2-year guy.
I've yet to see a freshman. I've yet to see a guy transfer to Notre Dame that had 2 years or more of eligibility.
Right. Now, is that on purpose? I think that's a purposeful thing. Because I think the true value of a transfer is a 2-year process, unless he's just like, unless it's like I can't even think of a situation where 1 year has worked out for a guy that's not a running back. Running backs it can work for, I think. But quarterbacks, receivers usually need 2 years, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hell, Jermaine needed 2 years.
Once again, like everybody's saying, Aloy Gilman was coming from the Naval Academy, dude.
Yeah,
from an educational standpoint. Once again, you're not getting 2-year guys that are coming from the University of Illinois.
No.
Because the academics don't line up. They don't. The Naval Academy is one of the top educational institutions in the world. All of the
it's harder to get into the Naval Academy than Notre Dame.
Just about.
Ben Joseph got lucky because he went to Northwestern.
Joseph was easy. Ben Skoranek was easy. They were coming from Northwestern, like you said, love. The kid, Chris Smith, last year, Harvard.
That's what I'm saying.
Came from Harvard.
Harvard, Jesus.
Josh Kelly is going to be a grad guy if he decides.
It's either grad or a prestigious school.
Right. I don't know. Riley Leonard is coming from Duke.
Duke. Wake Forest is hard to get into too.
Right.
Wisconsin may be the only.
People keep coming with these names, but they're missing the point. Notre Dame is not about to have a gluttony or cannot go into the transfer portal going after guys from state schools.
Yeah, we're not Colorado.
It just doesn't match up.
Yeah, we're not Colorado. Colorado would do that.
Can it happen? Yeah, every blue moon, like I said, every transfer is not built different. Sam Hartman was a grad transfer.
Yeah.
Sure. That's it. Has nothing to do with athletes. It's very hard, dude. It's the last thing. One of the things everybody talks about Rudy, right? Watch the movie Rudy and watch how difficult the transfer process is just for a good normal student.
Yeah, most guys that I have some dorm friends. They had to go to Holy Cross for a couple years and literally have the best grades of their life, and then they had to go do some crazy service in some
Yeah,
unknown African territory
yeah,
for a summer. Had to intern with 3 banks,
yeah.
and then they came over.
And
Like,
like Roger Blackman, the Carter kid that transferred in, took a red shirt. That's why he has another year. He didn't play more than four. He didn't play, and he's a grad kid. So when you're a grad kid, that changed the rules for grad transfers are different. Once again, Notre Dame does not give the football program the flexibility to go out and get guys with 2 or plus more years. They don't. That's one of the issues. That's one of the things Marcus Freeman is trying to work with administration and work with people of Aqua to change, to give them a larger pool of guys to
yeah, because a
pull
lot
from.
of it too,
You
the
don't think
credits don't transfer.
no, you don't think Marcus Freeman would love to go get Evan Stewart for
Oh
Texas
man,
A&M?
that's what we're supposed to get. That's the transfer you get excited about. But
That
there's no
I mean,
chance.
if you're
There's no
gonna get a
chance.
dude, that's the dude. And them Texas A&M credits are not transferring to Notre
No,
Dame.
we don't have underwater basket weaving. We don't have
No.
agriculture. Growing garden class. We don't got none of that. So that's the he gonna have to go through admissions, which Marcus Freeman loses majority of the time. So basically, any NFL young prospect that happens to be in the transfer portal,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not gonna happen unless he's just like, I mean, he got to be a hell of a student. But how many hella students do we have that are sophomores ready about to go to the league next year?
Right.
Just need another opportunity.
Yeah. And
Evan
you would
Stewart is a
think,
prime example of what we can't get, but
yeah,
we need from a talent standpoint to make us feel better.
yeah,
It's hard to hype up a Bo Collins. It's hard to hype up any guy really that's 4 or 5 years in and hadn't gone to the league yet. That's trying to elevate our team.
yeah,
Team elevators are usually out of there as redshirt sophomore, juniors, or something has to drastically happen for a talent to change Notre Dame's team right now to be in
hmm
the portal.
yeah. I mean, it's a difficult situation, but I mean, it's something that every coach, Brian Kelly, had to deal with. There was no portal like it is today. During Brian Kelly's era, but the transfer, requirements were the same. They were the same. And hey, man, I understand. I understand. It's frustrating. It is. You know, like Jay Henry says, Walter Nolan. Heck yeah, I would like to have Walter Nolan in the middle of the defensive line next year.
We definitely can't build no D line with these transfer rules. So think about it. We had to get a guy from Harvard. We had to get a
Hey,
D lineman from Harvard.
real talk. Chris Smith played very well for us.
But I'm saying that's an anomaly. How many Harvard D linemen getting transferred out and being productive other places? I mean, come on.
Have you seen the number of Ivy League players that are in the transfer portal?
Man, it's crazy that you said that because I've seen the same thing and been wondering, like, you know, is it the league and these guys are just talented for their league?
I think the transfer portal for Florida and schools like Florida International, Ivy League schools that really never got a shot has changed the game, right? Because it used to be the junior colleges where most of the Power Five schools would go to and heavily scout. Now you have people on staff and their entire job is to scout Florida International, UTSA, all of these smaller schools to find
Yeah,
out
I
who
mean,
we
these
can
smaller
grab.
schools have been the honeypot for a lot of the bigger schools,
Hmm.
unfortunately, which is kind of odd thinking that same power conference transfers would have more impact, but that hasn't been the case. The dude from Rhode Island, the lineman had like 40 offers from Rhode Island. How the hell? You that much of a talent that you was looked over and had to go to Rhode Island. Now you got 40 offers. Good grief.
I won't knock the hustle. Young men that put in the work to get noticed and improve themselves, and then Power Five coaches deem them worthy of a scholarship at a Power Five school. It's just the new way of the world. It's the new way of the world, man. And it is just one of those situations where um, hopefully, hopefully, people of Aqua, Notre Dame administration, and Marcus Freeman can find a happy medium somewhere. Because I don't think the majority of Notre Dame fans, I don't think they want Notre Dame to just totally go away from the academic excellence that exists. I don't think that's what people are asking, right? Because I mean, for a lot of schools, look at Minnesota. They were 5-7, and the only reason they were eligible for a bowl game is because of the level of academic excellence that was exhibited by their team this year. That's a rule. Like if you win 5 games, but you exceed in the classroom as a program, you have a special eligibility for a bowl game. That's the reason Minnesota got in to the bowl season. So, I mean, that's always expected at Notre Dame. That's par for the course. When we started talking about the transfer portal, I understand that it's hard to ask an institution to change its bylaws for admissions. Because once again, a football player has to be admitted to the school, which is why the portal opens when it opens to give time for the young men and women to do their due diligence so they can be registered by the second week of January when most schools and most students are going back. There is an academic side to this situation. And that's why it's easier for grad transfers because admitting them to a program, which is like a clean slate, there is no transfer. If you're a grad transfer, you're coming in. Yes, they're looking at your grades, but they don't have to transfer any grades. You already have your undergraduate. It's basically acknowledging the undergraduate degree and accepting you into the graduate program in whatever capacity. So it's a much easier process. Undergrad process, especially going after the state schools and other schools that are not lined up with Northwestern, Harvard, Vanderbilt, and the schools on that level. From an educational standpoint, it makes it more difficult, right? Because just in general, certain schools don't accept certain credits from other schools. That's just for regular students, just in general. If you work with your football program or your athletic programs, you would think there would be a little bit more leniency because of the factor of, man, the revenue that can be generated, right? I think Evan Stewart would impact, or Walter Nolan would impact the revenue of Notre Dame football next year. Heck, I think Riley Leonard, if he commits to Notre Dame, would impact the revenue of Notre Dame next year. But, you know, and even when we come to recruiting, I wouldn't say Notre Dame lowers their standards, but Notre Dame does work from a recruiting standpoint. Everybody in the recruiting class for Notre Dame is not a 3.5 student. And I'm not here to, put GPAs out there. But every year there are some exceptions made by the university to benefit the football program. Maybe like one or two, right? Everybody on the football squad didn't come in as a 3.5 student. But you're not about to get I think the combined GPA of the 23 class was something. I think Brian Driscoll wrote an article, something crazy like 3.62 or something like that. It was crazy. It was like a special class where, like, I think Keon Keeley's GPA was like, before he decommitted, was high. Peyton Bowen's GPA was high. Drake Bowen's GPA was ridiculous. Christian Graves was like 3.7 or something. I mean, the best players in the class, they were dudes, but they were also, man, fantastic students, you know? But like I said, I will give Notre Dame that. They do make exceptions on the recruiting side on an annual basis. Well, at least, it probably 2 to 3 guys per class that might not be, that would not normally be able to get into the University of Notre Dame. And like you said, you bring up Brandon Hillman. They asked Brandon Hillman to do something, and he didn't meet the requirement. They asked Bronte Johnson to do something, and he did it. And he's in a 24 class. It's like, as much as I would have loved for them to just go ahead and just allow Brandon Hillman to come in, they gave, like, hey, you're in if you do this. He didn't meet the goal. He didn't meet the goal. Elizabeth Prue. I can tell you right now, there have been players allowed into Notre Dame to play football that did not reach the 3.0 threshold. Now, that might make everybody gasp. Like, oh my God. That's why I tip my cap to administration, because in a lot of ways, the administration has been lenient over the years. And I'll be honest, if we really did a deep dive into those guys that were given the opportunity, I would venture to say that those guys actually turned into good students at Notre Dame. They were given the opportunity, and they turned into good students at Notre Dame, and they would be great ambassadors for Notre Dame. And the only reason they got into Notre Dame is because of the exploits athletically. Which goes to show you can't always read a book by its cover. You look at a high school GPA and assume, like, this kid can't work in this environment. And the next thing you know, they get in the environment, and the environment pulls the best out of them. So, yeah, we'll see how things play out, man. We'll see how things play out.
Sorry, I didn't.
I
Yeah,
know you. I know, bro.
I did. Had to get everybody together.
So we're just closing the conversation on, the transfer portal and Notre Dame admissions and everything. And I will say, as I was telling our fans, Notre Dame does make exceptions on the recruiting side. Like, everybody is not a 3.5 student in the
Right,
recruiting
right.
class at Notre Dame. They allow maybe 2 to 3 guys every cycle that
Yeah, they
normally
let a
wouldn't be
couple.
admitted.
Yeah, our recruiting class had 2 or 3. That it was like, how'd you finagle this? You're not you the odd one out the bunch, but they got you
Hmm.
here. But those are usually guys that are their whole career. You just kind of wonder, like, how they getting you through this?
Hmm.
It's kind of unwritten rules or whatever. But from the perspective of the challenges that Notre Dame gives themselves, is I keep going back to, it's a choice of what we uh, or how we want to go about it. Because at the end of the day, if we really was like these other top programs, then we would have been paid whatever it took to win, and that's just not necessarily the way we want to go about it, which is respectable. I mean, we still ain't joined the conference, and I know that's probably frustrating for people not Notre Dame just to have as an entity that exists outside the conference structure and still having so much that they put forth. So I think for us, we gave ourselves that challenge, and don't let us win one doing it the way we want to do it, because
Yeah,
it'll just set a hard precedent for us to ever want to change. But
yeah,
then it'll set a precedent for the rest of college football on how things can be done. Not should, but can be.
yeah. I know I talked to a recent recruit here in Chicago. That's a big time recruit who's not a 3.5 kid, you know. And literally, I was, we had a discussion about it. And he was like, yo, I messed up my freshman and my sophomore year. And he said, once you start off that, it's hard to really. He was like, yo, you look at my first 2 years academically compared to my last 2 years, and it's night and day. He said, I
And
can't.
that's the standard college kid. Notre Dame is
Yeah,
just a hyper focused niche of people that know that put together two good halves. Most college kids put together one good half. I mean, it's you figure things out. Notre Dame's just a place where it's more likely that guys that got it figured out are putting forth the effort early. It's just an earlier effort made by Notre Dame kids.
hmm,
Doesn't determine the future, but usually the kids that are at Notre Dame start early and finish strong late too. So it's just
yeah,
a stronger group of that. But you got to think Notre Dame's enrollment isn't what some of these bigger places are either.
yeah. And Anthony Solomon, yeah, that might be proof that he will be able to make it in college because a lot of kids just don't even care. But the fact that he cared changed his ways. And if you took his GPA his junior senior year, it probably would be 3 point something, you know? And yo,
I mean, it ain't that far from high school, and
no,
I'm in the high school sort of thing now, and these kids in school just is. I can see why it's hard for. It's easy, but it's
it's a
hard for some
different
kids.
world, bro.
Yeah, it's just different. So
It's a different world.
the importance of grades is just it's just
And
different for the general
and
population.
then environment, right,
Yeah,
bro?
yeah,
And
yeah.
environment like baby girl came home for the holiday and we're sitting around talking with family at the Thanksgiving dinner table, and she's talking about surfing and all the things that she's doing, and people, are looking at her scrunched up face like, you surfing. Like
Yeah.
we don't surf. What you talking about? No, you've never been exposed to the
Yeah, you ain't been
environment.
out there. You ain't,
That's it. You don't know what you're capable of liking if you're not around it.
yeah,
And that
that's just
is,
like phones. The phones and social media, just to access to people that 40, well, shit, 20, 30 years ago,
yeah,
you're not talking to nobody in Nova Scotia that you're dating now, and now you're dating
right,
them, and it only happened because social media or whatever. So, we didn't even have iPhones and apps and all that in high school. That was like
yeah,
beginning of college. So I can only
yeah.
imagine with kids and how distracting social media and the phones are now in high school. These kids don't want to do nothing. They don't want to do nothing
Yo,
but be on the phone for real.
and this is interesting. Roosevelt Carney says winning a national championship is not high on the list for these kids. Only fans care about championships. I can't speak to that. I can't. Um, just like this transfer portal thing, I'm left. I know where you always stood, but I'm starting to come around more to have more empathy for the players when it comes to the business because the players have been mistreated, lied to, and taken advantage of from a roster standpoint, from a business standpoint for so long. It's like when they finally get an opportunity, why do they need to be muzzled? Why do they need guardrails? It's like because the NCAA, these institutions, and these conferences, they haven't had guardrails. I think that's one of the main reasons why they're really coming after Jim Harbaugh, because Jim Harbaugh is one of the main guys saying, "Yo, we need revenue sharing
Yeah, and
with
I
these
think it
players."
just makes sense. It's hard. I think these professional leagues have it figured out because money is involved.
Hmm.
And what it's going to come down to is these schools taking control.
Mm-hmm.
of what's been so crazy, and they're just gonna have to copy what the professional leagues have to a science, paying players and controlling how they get paid and offering what they can get paid at certain schools is what it's going to come down to, because that's what these teams do to stay and have the leverage. Right now, these schools don't have no leverage over these kids when
Mm.
it comes to what can be offered and all of that. The only way it gets regulated is if the schools start doing it. And if the schools start doing it, it'll have a better organization to it, because now you get tiers of kids that fall into tiers of schools that got the most money. So now it starts to make sense when Ryan Day and Dion and Nick Saban and all these coaches go up there and be like, it's going to cost X amount to get a quarterback, X amount to get a defensive end. And if we want to be in these top brackets of teams, that's what it's going to cost. That then it makes sense when they go up there and complain if the schools are having a hand in it. Now, if you're doing it the way we're doing it now, you can get funding from anywhere, and it's a lot more loose. And I think national championship exists for kids in a perfect world. If you can get paid and go win, yeah, that's what they want. But you're still talking about the top 3%. Keon Keeley can make a decision like that. I know I can get a couple mil and go win. If you're not the 3%, you got to pick one. Or some don't even have a choice. Some is just, these are still like, I think just because of the media and how it's blown up,
Mm-hmm.
is made it seem like all these kids are at the free range of getting $1 million to go somewhere and play. We're talking about if there's a 3,000 kids in recruiting, we're talking about the top 50, maybe more than it. Shoot, it's probably like 20,000 kids trying to get recruited realistically as high school seniors. Maybe what realistically, what you think? It's probably around 25,000 kids, seniors, recruited every,
Yeah.
something like that. And we're
Yeah.
talking about 50 kids with the access of getting X amount of dollars to go somewhere. Like, that's what we're talking about. So,
And it is in that the nuance of it left that changes things, that goes back to what Roosevelt was saying. Times are different, man. Times are different. Kids have more options. They have more to think about. A five-star kid back in the 80s, that's all, dude. Being on TV and playing for a national championship is all they had to think about.
that's right.
There wasn't anything else. And you had no liberty once you signed a letter of intent. You were pretty much locked in.
There, you was the schools.
You were theirs. You belonged to them. Period. If a booster gave you a little money, okay.
You just got it right now.
Okay, you got it. You cool. Right? Now so many options, man. I'm a five-star. Yo, I can actually call schools, have schools in a bidding war. Up until 5 minutes before I announce on National Signing Day, I can have schools in a bidding war for my services.
Caleb Williams had schools in the bidding war. Eastern Michigan offered the kid $1 million. $1 million just to come to Eastern Michigan for 1 year.
And they know darn well he wasn't coming to Eastern Michigan.
It was offered though.
There you go. They took their shot. I can't knock the hustle. You
It
never
just it
know.
all it all it all it all evens and balances itself out,
We
because at the end of the
always,
day,
man, every high school has an example of the ugly dude that ended up with the pretty girl in high school. He
yeah,
took
it
his
balances
shot.
itself out. Yeah,
He took his shot. It's like sometimes it works, sometimes most of the time it doesn't.
but then realistically, still we're still talking about kids choosing between 8 schools a year that have
Yeah.
serious potential to win a championship, and it's just those 8 schools now have shuffled up a little bit more and extended it to maybe 10 or 12 because of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
12 teams you can take seriously that are looking to win. If a kid is a top 100 player in the country, he's looking at those 8 or 9 or 10 or 12 schools right now that are legitimate. You can win, develop, and get paid. There's a bunch of schools outside the 12 schools that we're talking about that love you for you to come to the university. For us, we're in the top 12 schools that is trying to do all three, give you the trifecta. And it's in picking between those kids, you're gonna have to spend some money. And we're getting, I'm finding a little bit more out about us spending a little bit, but that's the competitive arena in which is set, which is evolved to.
Mm-hmm.
You got to spend a little money to stay in the top 12 best teams. And these kids are making decisions based off of that. Because even think back to 2010, the college football committee, it was the BCS championship. They was picking between two teams. I felt like there was way more controversy in that and more unfairness in that than in the top four. Same thing with these kids. It's only two schools that's in the championship every year: Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, whatever, Georgia. Now with the 12-team expansion and NIL, Texas is a factor. Washington is a factor. These other teams that are trying to make a run with players that may not be at Alabama. But we get a bunch of pretty solid 4 stars. We can appear to be a competitor to the teams that have clearly out recruited everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee pop and have a year where you like, whoa, they can be something. But they don't last long, which I think a lot of teams will be fluctuating in between the 12. Because I think Oregon will have some downtime in the future. Washington after next year probably have some. I think they have
Yeah.
another year being solid, but after that, I don't think they'll. Too much turnover happens in college football for some of these teams that teeter in the 12. I think you'll have a constant 4 though.
Yeah. Something
Georgia,
else you have
Alabama.
to watch, left. I know this for a fact. I see kids that have no interest in coming to Notre Dame, but they'll have their little post saying decision coming soon and put Notre Dame in their top 6.
Yeah, it's not a serious thing.
You know why?
Yeah,
Because Notre Dame being in your top 6 increases,
it
it helps you
legitimizes
out.
the
It
person. Yeah,
legitimizes the person.
because we don't just first of all we don't offer a bunch of top guys like you would expect. Like
Mm-hmm.
the main 5 stars, okay, but outside of like just regular 4 stars and stuff, we don't really we recruiting more guys that you be like, who is that? I ain't never heard of him. Like Evan Stewart probably didn't have a Notre Dame offer for real, and if he did, it probably wasn't the first of his offers. It's probably like, once you get it after you cross 25 scholarships, you just gonna start getting some. But Evan Stewart wasn't Notre Dame's first. Notre Dame didn't offer him first. Evan Stewart's a top player. Hell, we didn't recruit Caleb Williams. Didn't even recruit Caleb Williams. We didn't even recruit C.J. Stroud. I mean, dang. Didn't even recruit. So,
Look at the quarterbacks that Tom. See this right here, man. I don't have anything to say about Tommy Rees as an OC. I'll let you rock that out because you play quarterback and you've been an OC. I have nothing to say. Nothing. That man chose Tyler Buckner over Caleb Williams, Drew Aller. I can go down the list of quarterbacks from that class, bro. That was his choice. Oh, this is the guy. Word? Really?
when we picked up Brendan Clark, how did you how'd you get to a Drew Pine decision over a C.J. Stroud and all them guys in his class?
Man, that's the bigger issue. Forget the plays he called. Your evaluation of talent, my man.
It was too niche. It was too niche to make sense of because Drew Pine is a niche pick for Notre Dame. Brendan Clark is a niche pick for Ian Book is a niche pick for Notre Dame. How did they get to Ian Book during that year? It was who was Ian Book's class? Ian Book said Ian Book was committed to what was that school he was committed to? He had said the recruiting story on the Varsity podcast almost fell out. The man said he was committed to like the Washington State or something out of the ordinary. No, I'm sorry, something ordinary for him. He was committed to somewhere ordinary for him, and he said he was surprised Notre Dame called. And he said he wouldn't. He was like, okay. And his parents had to tell him to go.
Yeah.
His parents told him he needed to switch and commit. Nah, he said I'm about to go to Cal or something like that.
Right.
So how does Notre Dame surprise guys with picks that they ain't even knowing? You know, they're not even expecting to know they expecting, you know, the level in which they are.
Yeah.
Cal's a great place for Ian. We surprised him with the offer. Hell, we surprised Drew Pine with his offer. So I guess we were at the time we're picking guys that couldn't say no. See, Deuce Knight got some choices. I felt like we really recruited Deuce Knight.
Mm-hmm.
We did a good job. Actually, I thought we did a good job with Dante up until it came time to when he started backdooring recruiting. And I think it's interesting that Dante's in the transfer portal now. Because Nathan Garbers is graduated, right? Or he's about to or something, right?
Well, I think, who knows, man, because the people surrounding Dante, you know, I don't like talking about parents. And you know, I don't tell somebody how to raise their child or to deal with
hard to do that.
their child. It's hard to do that. So that's a touchy situation.
But it just goes to show you, I think Notre Dame, we talked a lot about how the transfer portal rules are very niche, but that trickles into our regular recruitment is very niche.
I
Guys that
mean,
are
in a
guys that are
sense, yeah,
no doubt game-changing players like a Carnell Tate, like
right,
a Justin Scott, like
right,
Keon Keeley, a Richard Black, all these guys that no doubt would change your team day one. We have a low percentage of recruiting those guys, and damn near I don't think it wasn't until Marcus Freeman started coming around and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna just throw my name in the bucket." Before we wasn't even throwing name in the bucket.
right.
We wasn't going down to IMG to recruit no Nolan Smith or no Keon. We were just like, "Hey, well, hey,
Yes,
he's lost in the fold."
yes. And this is it. You know, I got Doma Wap made a interesting comment, and it kind of pairs up with NC Notre Dame fan. You say, I'll say it again. It's a damn shame that North Carolina got two back-to-back NFL quarterbacks in Sam Howell and Drake May, but ND can't. Right? Um, and that goes back to evaluation. Phil Longo was better at evaluating quarterbacks than Tommy Rees. It is what it is, flat out. Jared Parker and Gino Goduli come in, they evaluate Deuce Knight. Like, we have to wait to see what Deuce Knight is going to be, right? But then Tommy might have gifted CJ Carr to Notre Dame. He might have finally gotten it right on the way out the door.
Yeah, we still got to finish.
But Tommy didn't like evaluate and go after Kenny Minchie. Heck, Kenny Minchie called Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's an odd recruitment. How often does usually it's like how it usually happens is a guy, you know, falls in love with a place because of the coach. He's been chasing after him, and then the coach switches places, and they
Yeah.
land up at that school. Kenny literally was committed somewhere totally different. Watched the TV and realized that, oh my God, Notre Dame needs help.
And I don't want to play at Pittsburgh. I don't think I want to play at Pittsburgh.
And and it's funny because Pittsburgh at the time Kenny was getting recruited, they had Kenny Pickett.
They had a pretty
NFL
decent
guy.
squad.
They had an NFL. So even Pittsburgh can pull NFL talent. and
And
maybe
you
we
can
have more
any.
Kenny.
I'll be honest. Any evaluator can hit a rut where oh
Absolutely.
snap, two guys didn't work out. USC had a long line of quarterbacks, and then they hit a rut where it was like. But
But
I
you
mean,
know, but
their
the
rut
run is
was like,
considered a choice though. There
but
it's a
their rut was Sam Darnold and Cody Kessler.
right. Right.
Sam Darnold was a pretty good college quarterback.
I thought you was gonna say they rut was like a Jackson Dart and then all these guys that had filled in after Sam.
But Jackson Dart has become a pretty good coach. This dude, Jackson Dart, is winning 10 games at Ole Miss.
That's because you got Lane Kiffin.
Oh, you can say what you want to say. That dude is winning 10 games at Ole
Jackson
Miss.
Dart is a perfect example of how coaching can make you play better. But if you was a dude,
But
I
dude,
think
that's
Caleb
that's
Williams
the
would be a dude if he
majority.
didn't play
That's the
at
majority of the
USC.
quarterbacks that played for USC. When you talk about Lane Kiffin, Sark, Norm Chow, heck, those three legendary OCs
Yeah, that's a
and play
legendary
callers.
OC.
So every USC quarterback pretty much had an elite offensive coordinator. That within itself, you know, which goes to this is something we'll talk about this when we come back, Left. We've had a great discussion. Man, the comments, thank you guys, because you guys definitely helped to steer the conversation concerning how football has changed in the transfer portal. And we talked about Riley Leonard, the pitch that Left would make to him on his visit today, along with Bo Collins, how they would impact and change things. And I guarantee you, everything is much cleaner in the athletics building today. Boy, they cleaned up. They had the cleaning staff come in overnight to clean on top of what they already cleaned. Because Notre Dame wants to make a good impression on Riley Leonard, Bo Collins. And if I'm not mistaken, I saw a report that Josh Kelly arrived late Tuesday. So part of his visit will be today as well.
To me, it's just kind of hilarious how we go so hard for average talent. You know, we gotta roll out the red carpet for some guys that can change life at Notre Dame. We rolling out the red carpet for guys that we're helping more than they're helping us.
Lucky Lefty podcast. When we come back, we're gonna get into this discussion. Jim Phillips, my man. I didn't like you when you were at Northwestern. I really don't like you now. Because the games you played on Sunday that landed Notre Dame in the Sun Bowl, we're gonna talk about it, according to Stuart Mandel from the Athletic. And we'll get into some other things. Lucky Lefty podcast. We spin it different. Welcome back, Lucky Lefty podcast, CFB Nation presented by Twisted Tea. And some interesting things left are going on. Dude, this cat Diddy finally said something on Instagram, which is very interesting. And it was also announced that a 17-year-old in New York just filed a lawsuit against Diddy, Pierre, and another unnamed individual for
Oh, it's two.
trafficking, bro. For
It was two.
trafficking. Yeah, this
Oh,
hey, this is getting worse. Hey, I don't know how things are going to play out, but man,
two more people done hit him already.
yes, sir, my brother. Man. And he finally
I
he
mean,
denied everything. He said none of the stuff you're hearing is true in his IG statement. And yeah,
he got some splaining to do. I mean, but you know, I think it's more of a money thing. I don't think he actually gonna go to jail. He got too much money.
well, once he cut the check with Cassie, you knew the rest of the piranhas were coming.
Oh yeah, I mean, you cut it so fast. They was like, oh, it's blood. It's sweet like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Oh, absolutely. So Stuart Mandel has a fantastic article. You guys should go and read it on the Athletic. And I'm going to read this excerpt, which explains what took place within a matter of an hour after Florida State got snubbed. It says the Gator Bowl, Holiday Bowl, and Pop Tarts, formerly the Cheez-It Bowl in Orlando, which comprise the league's premium tier, the ACC, can in theory select any remaining team within one win of each other as long as they avoid repeat visits, regular season rematches, etc. Heading into the weekend, that pool was expected to consist of 9-3 North Carolina State, 8-4 Clemson, 8-4 North Carolina, and Notre Dame. Now, it appeared the bowls could pick from Louisville. No, I'm sorry, and North Carolina. Now it appeared the bowls could pick from 10-3 Louisville and 9-3 Notre Dame as well. But when the bowls got on their scheduled 2:45 p.m. Eastern call with ACC Senior Associate Commissioner for Football, Michael Strickland, and other league executives, they learned it would not be that simple. For one thing, conference rules and tiebreakers stipulated the Louisville and North Carolina State, the latter by virtue of his head-to-head wins over Clemson and North Carolina, had to be two of the three teams selected. As for Notre Dame, an official with one of the involved bowls said his bowl was told point blank by the conference that the Irish were not available to its pool. This is how Notre Dame ended up, and I kind of mentioned it. I heard it from another source before Stuart Mandel actually wrote this on yesterday. I had heard on Sunday night the ACC screwed Notre Dame because they were upset about Florida State, and they punished Notre Dame because they're not in the conference. When hell, they play a ACC schedule for the most part. You might as well, because every time they win the bowl, you take credit as if they're an ACC team. When they banged on SEC South Carolina last year in the Gator Bowl, you took credit for that as a conference. But now you want to take the mistake made by the College Football Playoff Committee and punish Notre Dame at 9-3, who out of the available teams is probably the best team. Now, if the Gator Bowl didn't want to bring them back, that's fine. That's fine. That's understandable. But the Holiday Bowl and the Cheez-It Bowl, you darn right they want to pick Notre Dame. And they get on this call with the ACC execs, and they hear Notre Dame's not available. What? So now we got to take West Virginia? Now we have to choose North Carolina? Look, the business of football is, look, the transfer portal isn't messing up college football. NIL isn't messing up college football. The business of football is messing up college football. That's what's messing up college football, ladies and gentlemen. The business of college football. The greed amongst these execs. Their egos. Jim Phillips. Clemson and Florida State don't even want to be in your conference. You had no power in the CFB playoff boardroom. None. Even with 5 members of the 13 connected to the ACC, you had no power because your conference has no power right now, bro. SMU was about to come into the ACC. The ACC is being viewed as taking a step back as a football conference. Your contract with ESPN is trash.
Trash.
It's trash. You're hemorrhaging blood and you're trying to put a belt on it to stop the bleeding.
To stop the bleeding.
And now you want to be mad at the biggest brand connected to your football conference? How goofy can you be? How goofy can you be? I would have moved Notre Dame up to the top of the list. Like, hey, you're mad because you only have one team from your conference in the NY6? The smart thing to do would to have gotten in cahoots with Notre Dame and tried to promote them to get the highest bowl you could get them with their connection to the ACC. If you were smart, that's good business. That's using the brands within your conference. But no, your ego caused you to be a goofy. You and the execs, just a big goof troop. So knowing who Notre Dame is, you better believe, oh, Notre Dame bookmarked that. What happened Sunday? The board members and the people at Notre Dame, I guarantee you they were like, okay, this is what we're doing. We'll go ahead and take our 19 million from the Sun Bowl.
Yeah.
We're gonna do what we do. Sun
We're
Bowl
gonna do what we
sold.
do.
Sun Bowl is sold out. Sun Bowl hasn't been sold out in decades. Sun Bowl sold out. Why? Notre Dame.
That's it.
Sun Bowl is probably going to have the highest ratings it's had in a decade.
Yep.
You know why? Notre Dame.
As long as they don't put it on Fubu or whatever the thing called.
No, Sun Bowl is usually on CBS.
Right. I'm just saying, as long as the streaming service is right, the viewing gonna be right. But you're right.
It's goofy. You're goofy. I understand you're upset because you got screwed from the playoff. I understand that. But the normal reaction with wisdom is, you know what? Let's elevate the top brands.
That's it. That's what
and get them into the best bowl games so we can make this look better.
Especially if this is the last year where it's up to a human choice for real. This is where you make your most money. That's why I felt like putting Georgia and Texas, Bama and Washington in the finals would have made the most sense.
And this is what makes it worse. This is when you know you're being fed bull crap. An ACC official, this once again from an article Stuart Mandel did on this bowl situation with Notre Dame and the ACC and the dominoes on the Athletic. An ACC official said Notre Dame was eligible for selection, but under the selection guidelines, their selection by one of those bowls was not guaranteed. Man, you talking around in circles, man. You're talking around in circles. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't get that.
You put the execs from those bowl games on a lie detector test and flat out ask them, if you had the chance to take Notre Dame, would you have taken Notre Dame?
Every time.
And see what they say.
Because they're going to be thinking about money. They're not thinking about good game, or they say, what can we, because they already know that it's not the Rose Bowl, it's not the Cotton Bowl, it's not the beat the championship game. These other bowl, Tax Slayer, Pop-Tart, Cheez-It, Popeyes, all these other bowls, they looking about how can we make the most out of it. Notre Dame is the easiest choice versus whoever. It ain't even got to be Notre Dame against a good team. Notre Dame versus Rutgers in the Pinstripe Bowl sold out. In the middle of Christmas in New York, sold out. Pinstripe was so happy they done gave us the best bowl gifts you could probably ever get. I got a bed, a PS5, a snow coat jacket. I done went to the Yankees Stadium and toured all around it. Stayed in the best hotel in New York downtown. I mean, we was doing it. And it's the Pinstripe Bowl. So, yeah, that's the example of going all out for Notre Dame, because Notre Dame's going to return in viewership and ticket sales.
Once again, representative for the Sun Bowl said we had no idea Notre Dame was going to end up where they ended up. We had no idea that things would play out above us. So the Sun Bowl exec is telling you that they're at the bottom of the totem pole in bowls. They have to take what's left over. But they're amped. You know why? Because they get one of the biggest brands in college football.
What's happening with them is they're getting what's called best bang for their buck.
It is amazing that Jim
They're getting the
Phillips,
best bang for their buck. They're like, we're the bottom of the total poll, getting one of the best teams.
man,
Because what's the Liberty Oregon game gonna turn out to be? It's a good game on the field, but is it a good game viewership wise? Most people in the country don't know how good, which they'll be surprised by. Liberty gonna be good. They're gonna put it on Oregon for sure. But viewership
left,
wise, does people know that?
left. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, who won it, Notre Dame, is North Carolina against West Virginia.
Lord have mercy.
The Pop-Tarts Bowl, NC State versus Kansas State. Didn't Notre Dame smack NC State, dude?
Lord have mercy.
Didn't Notre Dame smack NC State? I did read in the bylaws where they said one of the things they looked at was head-to-head. That's what the ACC rep said. And what I read. Notre Dame smacked NC State. You think the Pop-Tarts Bowl didn't want Notre Dame?
It's a shame, man.
The Gator Bowl, Clemson versus Kentucky. Now, Clemson beat Notre Dame. So I can understand the Gator Bowl saying we had Notre Dame last year. We don't want to bring them back this year. Clemson beat Notre Dame. Okay, we'll take Clemson. I can understand that logic. But the rest of those matchups, that's absolutely despicable, bro. Despicable.
Who would you have liked us playing against?
See, and then someone in the chat said, do we care? Notre Dame cares. The Sun Bowl exec admitted they are at the bottom of the totem pole. Everybody in college football knows that's a bottom of the totem pole bowl. Yes, I would much rather play a middle of the totem pole bowl over a bottom of the totem pole bowl and get more revenue coming into my program. 45 million is more than 19 million everywhere in this world. The last time I checked.
No, your math is correct. No, you're correct.
So do we care? You darn right. We should care, especially if we want things to change for Notre Dame. The more revenue, the better. You darn right we should care. You darn right we should care.
We act like we're a mid-major team so much. We recruit mid-major school players. We want to play at mid-major bowl games.
It's dumb. Whatever it is, dude. It's dumb. And it's like, dude, come on, stop grabbing that low-hanging fruit. Don't lose 3 games. What are you talking about? They're better than the teams in the other bowls, regardless of whether or not they lost 3 games. The bowl games have the right to choose the teams they want. The conference said they're not available on some corny stuff. Regardless, bowl representatives were at Wake Forest, Notre Dame, courting Notre Dame. They wanted Notre Dame. That's why bowl reps go to these games to court the schools. And in steps the ACC, somehow, some way, trying to wield power in a conference that has no power. It's obvious they have no power. Your top 2 teams don't even want to be in your conference, and they're trying to find legal ways to get out of the conference. And you tell the bowls, the team they want, they're not eligible. Based upon what? But yet still every year you're trying to beg Notre Dame to join the conference.
Every year.
Every year. Background conversations, join the conference. That'll help us renegotiate the TV contract. Every year you're begging Notre Dame to join your conference.
Begging to be with us, but then shaming us in public.
But then you go and do this. Oh, you better believe Notre Dame is sitting there like, okay,
If you can't, they got the whole. If you can't be with me, you can't be with nobody type.
okay, all right. Watch this. All right. Yep. Don't know how, don't know when, but Notre Dame is going to get you. They're going to get you
But for
back.
basketball, ACC's good for us though.
Yeah, it is. But I'm just saying, somehow, some way, Notre Dame's going to get them on the business side, bro.
Oh
It's
yeah,
going to catch up with them.
we've been around too long.
Oh yeah,
We know how that. I'm
yeah.
telling you, the number
Notre
one
Dame,
green we got is
Notre
that money
Dame,
green.
Notre Dame might mess around because this. I don't know if you heard this because I think this leads into it. The company that owns that Diddy had partnered with for Ciroc, which he's no longer partnered with, from over in Europe. The European company were the ones that financed the lawyers for Cassie's lawsuit.
Damn.
Now you know they've been going at it with Diddy.
Yeah, they trying to get Diddy off the brand because Diddy going out there.
Exactly. And they financed the lawsuit by Cassie. Why? They're trying to get at him. If I was Notre Dame, I would be petty. I would send Florida State and Clemson all of the information they need to get out the conference. Like, y'all want to know how to get out of this? Here you go. Do this.
And we can definitely do it too.
And when you do it, then all three of us will figure out what we're gonna do next.
Yeah.
I would be super petty. I
Because
would
you
be
know they can't
super
trace it.
petty.
You know they couldn't trace it.
Mm-mm.
We give them the whole game plan and we be like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's what they decided. We don't know how they did it.
I would get super petty. Super petty. Like, okay, we'll fix you.
It's almost like House of Cards almost.
Yeah. You know, it's once again, I guess they feel like they're gonna force Notre Dame into joining the conference. Like now you guys are joining the conference because you ended up in the Sun Bowl. Notre Dame is like, man, please.
We gonna make the Sun Bowl a very happy customer.
Coach Vic said we don't care if they trace it. Hey, at that point, if you're being that petty, it is. Before we get out of here, left, I want to give you, everybody, go over to the YouTube page, subscribe, share, like, hit the notification bell, but also the poll question of the day. Would you prefer the old Notre Dame wide receiver room of 2 weeks ago or the potential wide receiver room with transfers and incoming freshmen? Right now, let me make sure, let me refresh this to see where the votes lie. The options are the old room with Stuckey, the potential room, or it's all the same. Right now, the potential room is leading with 85% of the votes. 85% of the vote. But it's all the same coming in at 13%. And then the old room with Stuckey receiving 2% of the vote. Go vote right now over at Lucky Lefty Podcast YouTube channel. Yo, before we go, Left, you want to talk about, and this is something I think you and I discussed and just looked at certain things that happen with certain teams and programs for them to ascend to the college football playoff. You take Sark, who has struggled. He had talent. He had a quarterback, but he still couldn't get over the hump. And all of a sudden, he has Gary Patterson and Paul Chryst, veteran coaches that have won elsewhere, join his staff as consultants. And it made a huge difference. Steve Sarkisian spoke about it post-game on the field at the Big 12 championship. The connection with Jim Harbaugh and his brother John Harbaugh, and how he's gotten a lot of coaches off of the Baltimore Ravens staff with NFL connections, and other veteran consultants connected to the NFL, has helped out the Michigan program.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
look,
anytime you can surround yourself with people that know more than you, that whole
mhm,
speech, it gives you a greater confidence about what you're doing and the direction you're headed in, as well as taking the pressure off of making some decisions that, as a coach at your stage and age, might not have the most succinct answer because you haven't experienced it. So putting that experience around you, bounce ideas off of, give you some direction on what's the better move or the better decision, even though they're not going to make it for you. Having the right info around you can change the whole thing. It can change the direction of your program. And you see
right,
what that experience is able to give you when you apply it to what you at a point can't figure out, because it's never really so much been Texas or Steve Sarkisian not having the talent. It's always been the one or two or three game changing plays, or the one or two or three games that decide their season. A lot of what Notre Dame keeps coming into is the fact that these one or two games that decided our season during around this type of playoff schedule has definitely affected the way in which we perceive the program, because a lot of it too is we don't have a problem winning games, which I think 80%, or winning games consistently, which is what 80, maybe even 90% of college football deals with on a regular basis. We're in that 10% category where we're figuring out that our seasons are, at that point, was based on one or two games and maybe two or three calls during the whole season. That's a very specific thing to focus on. It's the same thing as training. When you young, you don't need a hitting coach if you in baseball. You just need to play baseball. If you in eighth grade and you trying to be a better quarterback, go out there and throw the ball a bunch of times. You don't need no private, super, detail oriented Patrick Mahomes type of quarterback training. Now, when you get to the NFL, when you get to the MLB, the NBA, yes, get you a specific trainer to fix the specific thing that you need. That's when you get the $1 million quarterback coach and this, that, and the third, because of what he can apply to what you actually need. When you young, you just need to play. You just need to get games under you. You just need to get practice hours under you. Marcus Freeman just needs to get those practice hours under him, and he's gotten better, in my opinion, situationally. It's just one or two things that you need a veteran guy around you to help you get through that, because you have an experience. Marcus Freeman as a coach is going to get better. But at this point where he's at with Notre Dame, it's a very mature place to where winning games, as we've seen, I mean, anywhere else in the world, Marcus Freeman is doing a good job. He's doing a good job. 2, 9, potentially 10 win seasons. That's a good job. Hell, it's your first time doing it? Yeah. But Notre Dame needs that hitting coach. They need those two or three golf coaches to work on your putt game. You need that driver coach. Work on you, but you've been driving your whole life. You know how to drive the ball, but you need that coach when you get to a certain age and stage. All right, you lean in a little bit, follow through a little bit more.
hmm
But but it's just the little things that help. Marcus Freeman needs the little things, because as a big perspective coach, he's got all the intangibles, got all the likability, can recruit, young, gets the people going, all of that. But he needs that experience to be like, Marcus Freeman, tell one of your players to jump off sides so we can get a penalty. It's not gonna make it no closer. In the moment, Paul Chris, who I told you is my favorite coach. outside of Harry Easton. Paul Chris I was visiting Pitt because of Paul Chris, and it just so happened Notre Dame called me on that visit. That's the only difference. But I was going to Wisconsin or Pittsburgh because of Coach Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Period. So I already know what he provided from a calmness, a poise, a certain knowledge information bank that you can rely on, that you feel comfortable. It's like he was talking about football with me where I was like, man, if I just listen, forget the talent. If I just listen to what he's telling me, I'm gonna win half the game. Just listen. Put the talent in there. Now we got some. Russell Wilson. Just listen. And so, what he probably provided to Steve Sarkisian was just the battery he needed in his back to change the game, and he did that. So, and Steve Sarkisian won a bunch of games last year, but he won that Alabama game convincingly when he got that help. And it's still the same players, still the same scheme,
Yeah.
still the same intensity. Hell, you was at home, shit.
Yeah. And
And it
it's the
was just
same
one or two
thing.
plays that they missed.
Yeah.
Where after the game he was like, "Well, damn, we played good. It just wasn't good enough." Now he's like, "We had a plan. We knew what we wanted to do." And you saw how as soon as they got the lead, what he started doing, killing the clock. It was about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He waiting till the time run out. He doing vet moves. He doing the moves at the YMCA that the old dudes doing, but they still getting baskets.
Facts.
Extra pump fakes, fake pump fake, all type of up and unders, picks, slipping the screen. You know all the vet moves that the old dudes do at the one
The
that
high
make you
post,
mad.
the high post X, where you
High
catch the
post,
ball at the free
triple
throw
threat,
line and have the guys cut off and you backdoor,
yeah, back door and hitting you with all the old head moves.
hit you
You
with
know
the
when you
back, the
young, you
bounce
just trying to
pass.
get. Yeah, you young, you just trying to get transition. Oh, I'm trying to get transition buckets. Cherry pick, all that. Old dudes getting you on the block, hit you with the sky hook.
Right.
Old move. So it's like that's the stuff Marcus Freeman needs to add to his game because right now he's just a 3-and-D guy. Marcus Freeman is a 3-and-D. He can hit the three, make the crowd go crazy, play some defense, first, second team defense. But he's just missing something. He's a great two-way player.
Yeah.
He's just missing that coach. He's missing that Phil Jackson.
Yeah. Hey, look, left. People talk about year 3 for recruiting and players, whether it's recruiting on the transfer portal. You still have to build a championship staff as well. And that's one thing that reigns supreme with all the participants in the college football playoffs. Their staffs are impressive. Alabama has Charlie Strong on their staff. I think they have up 3 other veteran
It's the
college
whole
football
winning
coaches.
before the game even started.
Yes,
Alabama's staff is just so good. You got to beat that first. The
right,
preparation each week is what you got to beat, let alone the players, because
right.
preparation gonna beat you in the clutch moments like Alabama always does.
And you can't win without that, man. No one wins without a really good staff. Who is Jordan Clark? I'm lost. Maybe I'm bugging right now. Who is Jordan Clark? Oh, and I apologize. I wanted to say this on yesterday's show. Brian Loftus gave us a super chat. We want to acknowledge it because I missed it towards the end of the show. Best show out. Any chance you guys can get Everett Golson on? Where's that dude at? He went to
That's a
Tallahassee and
segment
never
we should
came
have.
back.
That's a segment. Where's every ghost?
Dude, that it really should be a dude. He spent time in Chicago. I do know that.
Ev is a look, man. He's like James Bond or something, man. I really appreciated Ev, man. I think just from you needed his personality in the room.
Yeah, we talked about Jordan Clark on last night's show.
You
Left
needed his personality. Yeah,
Left started the show yesterday talking about Jordan Clark.
yeah. We just trying to build that Steelers backhand. That's all. That's all.
Yeah, I thought maybe I do. Like I said, I was bugging. my mind had moved on. My mind had moved on. Like do you see Left? Let me tell you something you just showed. I'm impressed by that, Left. The love you just showed, the love you just showed to Ev, bro. That's how you know. That's how you know that relationship was the respect you had for that dude. Even though you were trying to take his spot, the respect you had for that dude.
Yeah,
That's
man.
it.
Cause it's you can't even be mad at a dude that's just trying to get right. That's what we always talk about. You just got to change life, get right, man. And it it was positive for the room because I wanted to beat him up every day,
Right.
But it was never like I didn't want him to do well. It was just like I wanted to do better.
Yeah.
And I think when that existed in the room, it was healthy. I mean, hell, Deshaun came in. It's so funny because
What happened?
I remember Deshaun committed, and the first thing he did was post on Twitter like, "Oh, I'm not taking no phone calls, interviews, TV, nothing. I would respect my decision. I just want to make like he was like Brad Pitt or something. You acting like people wanted to. You was so hyped for people to talk to you because just the whole overhype expectation. I guess I don't know. It wasn't the man. It was just a really good room because hell, I feel like Ed felt the same way I did about him. How he felt about Tommy because you know Tommy was like Brett Favre. He ain't helping you.
Oh, Tommy was like Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, he like
Like
Ryan
now
Tannehill, Brett
he's
Favre, Ben
all
Roethlisberger.
he see Ryan Tannehill's like all good. He was like, oh, I'll help Will Levis any way he needs me.
Straight up. But when
But
Malik Willis coming in,
just a year ago with Malik,
I ain't interested. That's not my job.
that's not my job.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
You are
All
not my
right.
job guy. That was Tommy, not my job guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that was just kind of to set it off, but just I think that left the room and comfortability set in. Brandon's a good-hearted person, man. I'm not saying he's not competitive, but he was more, just wait my turn kind of thing. And I just don't think that's what the position requires
Mm-hmm.
at Notre Dame. You gotta be cutthroat in a lot of ways where, you not really buddy buddy with the guys, but it's a healthy not buddy buddy.
Mm.
It's like I need you to know that I am looking to beat you, but I love you though, but I'm looking to beat you. So, I think it existed with me and Deshaun up until a point. But it was a respect thing too. I was never trying to overshadows Ev's leadership in any way or
See, you know what the
you know
problem was with Deshaun? It was given to him, left.
that's exactly what happened.
See, that was
And
it.
it
You
sours
and Ev, you and Ev went through the gauntlet of true competition, and that kind of like sharpened both of you guys, not only in your skills on the field, but in leadership.
yeah,
Deshaun
when
got
you
none of that because they just
none of
gave it
that
to him. They just gave it
basically.
to him.
And so it's just that's the natural order you talk about. You gotta on a team level, you gotta like T'Challa and the dude in Killmonger. You gotta fight
Hmm.
to get the spot. You just can't be given it. You just don't. You build resentment within the team.
Yeah.
So I think when you ruin that, not saying that he wasn't a good player or nothing, but just the chemistry of the team matters so much. Like 15 was so good because we really worked as a unit, and all the guys that I played with became the starters. This, that, and the third. Me and CJ were close, and you can see it how it reflects on the field, and it trickles down that way. You get into 2016 where Deshaun had his guys, but he didn't really grow with his guys.
Right.
So all them games we lost were chemistry issues. We lost 7 games, last minute drive on offense. That's a fact. Shoot, I was part of one on the Virginia Tech game senior day. Got in the last 2 plays, should have threw it deep, tried to throw it to EQ, whatever. But that matters because once that's thrown off, but when it's on, you see Ian Book go undefeated, go all the way to the playoffs, and that just became a scenario basis. I think Coach Kelly did a great job of surrounding himself with the pieces necessary. I think at that time it became more impact player, but some of the team we ran against were just some dudes,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Florida State's team coming off a championship, they were some
yeah,
dudes. It just sometimes you just lose them. If you playing some straight dudes, Eddie Lacy and them boys were straight. There's nothing you can do with that.
yeah,
To the point where it does demoralize the team. I think like Seattle Seahawks, Legion of Boom, throwing it instead of running. It was almost like how we got smacked against Alabama. It was just so deflating. At halftime, your head coach is like, "Look, I'm just trying to finish the game strong." I'm like, "This is the championship, bro.
yeah,
You just talking about trying to finish strong? No, bro.
yeah.
Cause come on, dude. I, I have to go down as one of the craziest halftime interviews ever. I mean, just the whole expressionless, just like, yeah, we are getting our tail whooped.
Hmm.
What do you want us to? What do you want me to say?
Lilo Galante, get to the bad question. You guys think Indy administration looks at the elite team's coaching staff and thinks maybe we need to set our guy MF up to succeed? They're
I mean,
not willing to pay. You got to
that's
pay
what I'm
for those
saying.
staff.
Yeah, you got to pay for that,
You
which is a
definitely have to
choice.
pay for
Because
that.
like we know, Notre Dame got the money. Don't ever think we don't got that. You know,
Oh, they got that guap.
we definitely LeBron, like in the
They got
movie where
that
he was
moolah.
like, you just he, like LeBron in the movie breaking down the check. That's what we are when it comes to this coaching stuff. We gonna break down the check. You had the burger for $17.50. Okay, I only had the water, so I ain't paying for no drink.
Hmm.
Mine was exactly $31.50. That's Notre Dame.
Going back to the earlier parts of the show, Elizabeth Crook, thank you for tapping in and said, my husband says that, Sean, so I got a maid. We talking about, yo, why we cleaning up for visitors more than we clean for ourselves.
Oh hell yeah.
Mario Dunlap, now, bro, you know you can't have folks talking about you got a filthy house. Yeah. But I mean, based upon what I hear, it wouldn't be late. That tag wouldn't be put on me. Tom Balork, I'm sure everything is shiny and clean in the groove today. Tom, you're probably right, man. You're probably right. They got it all nice pine smell for the holiday season. Christmas tree is probably right there at the door as you enter. Absolutely, man. Because you do. They had us come down for when Dante visited. They had the media come down
That's right.
for Dante's visit. You know they're gonna act a fool for Riley Leonard today. It is what it is, man. Lucky Lefty podcast. Left, great show, my brother.
That's right.
Appreciate you. Everybody that joined us. Don't forget Apple Podcast, Spotify for your daily audio edibles, man. You know what time it is.
Petticoat, 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 petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
and fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic Petty Junction?
Petty Junction, Petty Story today brought to you by Nora Whiskey at norwhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, norwhiskey.com. It's interesting, Left. Texas A&M just lost two more defensive linemen to the portal, and the tight end, starting tight end, and another player, a defensive back. Mike Elko's gonna have to put in a lot of work to keep the
Yes,
recruiting class together, and he's losing guys off their roster
yeah,
by the
because Mike
minute.
Elko is probably not as open with the bag as Jimbo Fisher was, and conversations are different in terms of guys' intentions. And Mike Elko is trying to build a culture, so
Hmm.
I'm sure his culture is way different than Jimbo Fisher's, especially
Yeah.
where he's coming from. It's just it'll be interesting to see.
Yep. Petty Train Man, I introduced to you, punch his ticket, David Carr.
You have to have a serious conversation if you're Philly, and you have to really say, is it better for us to play Marcus Mariota right now and let Jalen get fully healthy? Because I would argue that it does not matter if you're the number one seed. Because if the 49ers come into Philly again, they do not care. They do not care. If raining in Philly doesn't matter. But irrelevant.
You're the coach. You're Nick Sirianni. You go up to Jalen Hurts. He's like,
I'm
dude,
with you, bro. That's
I
gonna
can
be a
play,
crazy
coach.
conversation.
I can play. How are you going to tell me after I just got paid, we do all of this stuff, I'm in the MVP runner. We just had a board up there reading his MVP odds, and now you're going to telling me to sit.
Big picture, brother. Like that's what you have to do. Like if you're Nick Sirianni, this is the type of decision and conversation you have to have if you have a big picture mentality. And I think you can have that conversation honestly with Jalen. And if you set him down, that's all Jalen talks about is the end result and getting to the Super Bowl and winning that thing. The best way we can do it. They didn't run the football at all with him. Twice. That's not it, man. That's not the winning edge. Put Marcus in there, win a couple games. Yeah. Maybe you have the number one seed still. You might have it. I'd say he's probably better at playing quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Right now, he would be more productive.
Hey, I ain't say that.
Man, let me tell you something, Dave. First of all, you're probably one of the worst first round quarterbacks in the NFL, period. So your evaluation of the position is ridiculous. To say that Marcus Mariota, who was cut by the Atlanta Falcons so they could play Desmond Ridder, would be more productive than Jalen. And then you go on later in the
He
clip
said
to
Marcus
say,
Mariota, I think.
yes, yeah, Marcus Mariota. And then you go on later in the clip to say that Jalen struggles to read defenses.
Oh yeah, this dude is crazy. This dude
Like,
is
what do
crazy.
you talk? What? Then you say it doesn't matter if Philly's the number one seed. What are you talking about? So your premise is it doesn't matter because San Francisco's so good. Okay, so you have a better chance at home. You don't want to play them in San Francisco.
No.
This dude is loony. The number one
And
seed doesn't matter.
if San Francisco's so much better, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, according to what you're saying. So you trying to bench a player that's up for the MVP voting against a team you already said is better than in the rain and snow and the whatever. It just sounds like a straight hater when you talk about benching a dude that's currently successful. If anything, you compliment the team that's coaching to their players' strengths. Why would you want Jalen to do something that you couldn't do clearly because you threw the most picks ever as a rookie? But why would you want Jalen to do something that's not working or go against what he's not doing now? First of all, you don't know what he's reading. That's the other thing. You don't know what he's reading. The man could be reading exactly what he needs to be, clearly, if he's being able to be productive when he got hurt and couldn't run. I think it's just very nitpicky and petty to say. I think a lot of it is based on his feelings and not what he's actually looking at. And it's a shame that you're a quarterback saying they should bench another quarterback, bench a winning quarterback. This ain't college, and this is the professional leagues. They just paid the man because they believe in him. So why would they pay anybody and bench him? I've never heard somebody say that. You pay a dude to bench him? A quarterback? That's I mean, that sounds real. That sounds real crazy, David.
10-2 left.
And then to say, put a dude that really, we've already seen enough of Marcus Mariota. We've seen. I mean, come on now. You done said that was the diss. The diss was saying Marcus. You start that was the hater stuff. You want to see Marcus Mariota read what? How many teams and how many chances he ain't got to read a whole bunch of stuff and couldn't do anything in the play? Like that's crazy. So the comparison of who he should be benched for was crazy. Calling for a dude that's 10-2 and went to a Super Bowl in a young career so far is crazy. Saying the man can't read how do you play the position at that level? Can't read a defense. Matter of fact, I know how. Patrick Mahomes told you he couldn't read defenses in quote unquote. He's a $500 million guy. Told you he started reading defenses after he went to the Super Bowl. So what's that say about you, David Carr? You could read all the defenses in the world, couldn't get there ever. So what's it mean? Patrick Mahomes told you he was 3 or 4 years in, couldn't read a defense. And that man is the best quarterback in the league. That man has $500 million. And he told you in the interview he couldn't
Patrick
read it.
Mahomes is the pettiest flexer in the NFL.
The pettiest flexer ever.
This man told you I couldn't read defenses in my third year. I still do. It didn't matter. I was still lighting cats up. Like it didn't matter. Then this dude told Jalen Hurts at last year Sunday night, "Hey man, I'm not staying at the hotel, man. I rented a crib in the preseason. That's like a mile away from the stadium. I rented a crib because I knew I was gonna be here."
That's why Jalen fumbled.
Man,
that's why Jalen fumbled in the game.
He was like, Jalen Hurts played good, but you talk about messing with somebody's mind. Like, oh, you staying at the hotel? Oh man, I rented a crib a mile from the stadium.
Ben Book, like I ain't take a snap this year and knew I was going. Like, what are we talking about?
Like, yeah, as soon as I know Tyreek left. But
like I've already been doing laundry at the house.
Right.
I was doing laundry. I was just staying there in the off season just to check the area out because I knew I was gonna be populating this at the end. Jalen, you didn't even know you was gonna be here, you know. So yeah, come on now, David Carr. It's 2023. That whole can't read defense thing got to go out the window. Because I can understand, you know, you doing it for somebody that isn't playing well, but golly, man, what?
And we're not sitting here saying that it's not something. Of course, because now Pat says he learned how to do it.
I mean, think about real life. How many jobs do you go into after you graduate college, don't graduate college, whatever? You get a job. How many times do you know exactly what to do in that job? Or how more likely is it that they're going to train you to do the job? Regardless of what school you went to, 99% of jobs train you to do the specific job you're going there for. They have requirements, like you got to graduate, this, that, and the third, but they don't expect you to know how to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
Good Chick Hernandez told me a story about James Brown from CBS was terrible his first year, terrible. And they said, we're not going to continue you. This was a good test run, whatever. And he told them, you're going to fire me? How am I supposed to get better? You're supposed to train me to get better. You going to let me go? I don't know how to do it. You supposed to tell me how, So it was like, damn, you're right. So they got him a trainer, and ever since then, he's been on CBS doing it. So, of course, you're not going to be good in the beginning.
Yeah.
But when you get trained to do the job, just like Marcus Freeman, put some experience around you, train to do the job. Yeah, you got talent to do the job, but you need to be trained to do the job. So it's the same in any business. You train the employees to do the job and make it work, because you got to learn from somebody. I mean, you just don't walk in nowhere and just be an evil genius or diabolical or nothing. You got to learn and get taught how to do it. So, I think that's the realism of it.
Lucky Lefty Podcast, Truman, Theodore DeMel, thank you for the super chats. On when will you guys know who opted out of the bowl game or declared for the NFL draft? I mean, most of us know. Most of the people in ND media know or have an idea. Just allowing kids to make their own.
Yeah, I mean, Maris declaring that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life, because at this point...
No, I disagree. Because Maris has had severe injury issues at Notre Dame.
Man, listen.
severe injury issues at Notre Dame. I have no problem with a kid
That's
that has
anybody though.
injury. No, that's not anybody. JD Bertrand has not suffered. The fact that Notre Dame had to nurse Maris back on the field during fall camp prior to last season, they nursed him through camp, bro. That dude was playing like 1 every 4 snaps. And the fact that he made it through the season was almost like finally a miracle. Like people don't know all of the procedures that Maris
I
has
don't
gone
know,
through.
man. I don't know.
When you have somebody that's dealing with that on their mind, that's part of the equation. I have no problem with them sitting out. None. Somebody like JD Bertrand that's been healthy, and that's not part of his equation. Top 10 pick like Joe Alt, I understand. Hey, just look at what happened to Jalen Smith. I understand.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know.
And let's be honest, they playing in the Sun Bowl, dog. Nobody want to play. If they were playing in an NY6 Bowl, I guarantee you, majority of these guys would be playing.
I mean, if we just talk about playing football, I don't understand opting out only because what is the greater risk all of a sudden just because it's a last game in college? I don't understand that perception. I mean, you done made it through 13 games. Fine. And hell, if you play good enough, you're only playing a half, if that couple snaps.
Yeah,
I think
I'll
you
give
gotta
you that.
maybe it's just being an old guy not playing. You would look back and be like, damn, I chose not to play a game because of what? That's what it comes down to. Because the train.
My point is, my point is, I don't judge people based upon the information they have. I don't have all the information that goes into Mayor's decision.
That's true.
I don't. I don't know what those medicals look like. I didn't go through that rehab twice. I didn't. So I don't know what could be in his mind. Maybe he feels like, woo, I got through 2 seasons. Yo, let me go ahead and start preparing for the Senior Bowl. That's his decision.
We don't know the mindset of why he chose to do that. I think that's a fair thing to say. I mean, it could also be Marcus Freeman having a conversation, being like, "Look, thank you. Maybe
That's real too. That's real too.
Hey,
Yeah.
you done did it for us. Thank you.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
you're a good teammate. You don't got nothing to play for. Hell, I don't. What else do you want to see?
Yep.
I mean, hey, we got some
I
young
agree.
guys, help your brothers out, all that. That could
Yep.
definitely be a possibility. So
Yep.
it's just one of those things.
Yep. I don't judge anybody's, answer for the equation they have. If it's the right answer for you, I'm cool with it. Because it's a different day, bro. It's a different day. I said this yesterday. How many people expected Maris Leofold to get a invite to the Senior Bowl?
Yeah.
So
Well,
what's more important in his?
I did.
No, I didn't. No, oh, wait, no, I didn't.
You at Notre Dame? What do you mean?
Nah, fam, that don't mean nothing. There's a whole bunch of people at Notre Dame that didn't get Senior Bowl invites over the last 5 years.
Who did you? How?
What are you talking about?
Maris has a nice decorated enough.
Wait a minute. Who has played better? Ask yourself, who has played better, JD Bertrand or Maris?
We talking about for the NFL or just
Ask
season?
yourself, who has played better, JD Bertrand or Maris Leofold? Who has played more consistent for? Exactly.
Okay,
Maris
now we
Leofold,
talking about NFL.
Maris Leofold just happens to be a guy that makes tons of mistakes, but he's just physically is able to make up for mistakes and probably has more physical talents and traits according to NFL scouts.
That's what I'm saying.
So I agree with you there. But those are the reasons why he got the invite. Let's not act
Right.
like the
Right. That's
production has been
exactly.
there,
That's
crazy
exactly. No,
production.
no, no, no. I'm saying based off of his physical traits, all of that, good enough numbers and where he played, he's gonna get an offer
Mm.
because he got the bodies for it. You know.
But nobody expected after an up and down year. I could pull 3 or 4 games this year where Maris is disappointing.
But that's what the point of the Senior Bowl is. These are guys that made on the fringe type of guys. Maris is 100% on the fringe. He went to Notre Dame. That's gonna get you wherever you.
Talk about it.
I expected
The
it. So
real the real reason if Maris Leofow is at Illinois, he's not in the Senior Bowl.
he's not in it. I agree with you. But if
No.
you at Notre Dame, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get a shot. It's just what it is. And you gonna get a shot as long as as long as you get it. Yeah, hell, even if you don't play, you're gonna get a good transfer somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So that's the power of being there. But I expected it. I definitely expected. I just didn't expect him to sit out.
Yeah. I think last week of January is the week of practice for the Senior Bowl. The game is on the 3rd, I believe, of February. And yeah, man. That means he
And it
gets
could be a rehab thing. You're trying to get up on rehab faster and
and
all
he's
that.
just what? And let's be honest, Left, he's just played a full at this point in the season, everybody in Notre Dame has some type of soreness,
Yeah.
minor injury, everything. Maris is no different. And with his injury history, he has chosen not to have 15 more practices added on, not to have another college football game added on, to rest his body, get more healthy, and then start ramping up. It's a business decision.
Well, hell, the game not a New Year's Six bowl, so the game gonna be like what next week?
No, the game is on the 29th. It's like 2 days before New Year. I mean, it's the 29th.
I mean, to each his own. Can't be
Yeah,
mad at a guy that's trying to be a professional. Hell, I mean,
yeah.
you gotta prepare the way you prepare and hope for the best. Because in a couple years, he'd be a what third, fourth year guy, special team somewhere popping up here and there. I mean,
Yeah.
look at a Willie.
Yeah,
Willie
Jason
is a
Jason
surprise.
Lynch, you don't have to worry about my headphones. These headphones were given to me when I got my first big job in the business. They ain't going nowhere.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes things mean more. I don't give a darn how broke they get.
I still got clothes from high school, so I feel you.
Hey, and the person that gave them to me is still a very important person in my life and a mentor. So yeah, it'll be a while before these headphones go anywhere.
You talk about fill that bookcase up there, funny. That's petty, Mark. That's petty, Mark.
I don't need a. I have dude. I don't need to feel dude. I have a whole box. I wish I could turn it around. I had a whole box. I had 2 boxes of books. I have a dude. This stuff is like half my book collection. Not even half, bro. I got 2 boxes of books in the corner of my office. Dude, I just choose not to load the bookcase, dude. Cats trying to be funny and they have no idea what they're talking about. It's like,
That's all it be.
yeah, those are the womp womps. When something's like somebody in your crew says something, everybody's like, they just get quiet.
That wasn't
Like,
it.
like, yeah, dog, okay. And then dudes like try to repeat it like you didn't hear him, and you like,
I don't know, man.
fam, we heard you the first time. Like, let it go. It's like, come on, man. I mean, if y'all just want to send money, you can send money. It's gonna go right to my daughter. So go ahead. Send the money. SD2 mics on Cash App. Go right ahead, man. Let's see. You can Zelle me via my email, dude. Yeah, go ahead. It's not gonna be for anything but Whatever baby girl wants to do, whatever she wants for Christmas. It go towards that car payment.
Hey, that car payment's for real.
Lucky Lefty podcast. I want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I don't think I did.
We should do a Lucky Lefty 24/7. Do like an all-day podcast, raise some money,
With nothing but guess.
Nothing but guess.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Tell your boy, I don't. Jerron Jones was actually supposed to come on with us Saturday, but he had like a meeting with his football squad.
Shout out Jerron, still going, man, still playing.
Ask him about the video he says he accidentally posted on Twitter today. That's it. Just text him.
That's a wild man.
Did you see it, Lev?
I don't need to see it to know it was wild,
no, man. Bruh, it was beyond wild.
Jerron's crazy.
Beyond wild. When I saw it, I was like, there's no way. I thought somebody had hacked this account. But he fessed up to it. Lev, I'll check in with you later. Everybody else, man, we appreciate your support, man. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the share button, like button, notification bell. And we'll dig in more. Bruce Feldman, I think, is going to try and come on with us to talk about what's going on in the quarterback situation in the portal. And we'll see, because remember, Bruce Feldman was the one that said Sam Hartman is a tier 3 or tier 4 quarterback.
Hey, we were spot on. He was spot on.
So we'll ask the question, what tier is Riley Leonard? We're going to ask him point blank.
Tier 4 or 5. Tier 4 or 5.
You are wild. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Have a great Wednesday. Make sure you spend it different.